John, really curious to get your thoughts on just how hard this is going to hit the tech economy. We've got Airbnb, a company that's laid off 25% of its workforce, Uber laying off 14%, and it sounds like there are going to be more layoffs there, Lyft laying off 17%. I mean, just how many more large chunks of Silicon Valley companies are we going to see just get wiped off the map?
Well, I think this awakening of realizing that Silicon Valley isn't just full of robots, it's full of people. And if you remember Brian Chesky's essay on Medium in 2013, it was "Don't bleep up the culture." He was talking about the importance of people and not computers in a server room. So I think that this awakening that computation involves people is now quite front and center.
I wonder, though, does that make Silicon Valley companies more vulnerable? These are companies like a company like Airbnb, which has delayed going public, taken on more and more funding, and then used that funding to hire more people and invest in the long term. Right now, those sort of long-term, more experimental projects, that's what's getting cut right now. And I wonder if that means that some of these venture-backed startups, and Airbnb is beyond a startup, but some of these venture-backed companies are actually a little bit more threatened right now.
Well, I think they're threatened if their cultures aren't strong. When you think about Airbnb's culture, it's carefully crafted. It's almost artisanal. So I think it'll definitely weather the storm. But looking at Silicon Valley as a whole, we want to consider how with higher unemployment from tech workers, we'll probably see a whole new wave of startups emerging in the next 5 years that have much more empathy for people who are out of work. That's going to be a whole different kind of startup, I believe. It won't just be a startup founded upon the idea of faster laundry or faster pizza. It's going to be quite more profound, I believe.
So what does that mean for the gig economy? I mean, what do you foresee?
I foresee that the idea that the simple problems can be made into startups are going to be more about difficult problems. How to manage your unemployment situation, how to actually survive is going to be the basis of a startup, and I think that's going to be much more profound.
Now, your research really focuses on the relationships between humans and machines and humans and technology, and I wonder if there are certain trends that you see accelerating, given that we're all working from home, given that so many of us are still sheltering in place. How does the ratio and the relationship shift over that time?
Well, I think that we all know that contactless is like the thing. But if anything, we're learning so much from China. I'm so glad you mentioned QQ and other Chinese companies. When you think about it, we become more like China in terms of how the internet has come into our lives. And so we have a lot to learn from China's innovation patterns.
So what are the opportunities you see in technology? What are the trends that you think companies and the people who work at these companies should be doubling down on right now?
I think we should definitely doubling down on how we make systems out of data. If anything, when we look at why the tech sector is doing well, it's because never before has it been able to acquire so much data about our lives because we're sheltered in place. It's a perfect petri dish to understand us. And so there's a kind of a scary side, but also an opportunistic side to kind of take advantage of everything we know about people and make better products to serve us better.
Publicis Sapient is a company that helps companies make the digital transformation, get to that digital future. What are the biggest pain points you're seeing for various organizations right now, and how well are they rising to this challenge?
Oh, that's the question that's on the top of my mind. There's that sort of internet joke going around, like who's responsible for your digital transformation's progress, the CEO, the CIO, or the COVID-19? It's this notion that because we have this situation, essentially a power outage of the entire world, every company that held back its efforts to go digital now realize it should have gone digital. So it's all opportunity right now for the established companies to actually up their tech game, whether that's remote collaboration or new ways to do e-commerce. And so that's an exciting time now for those companies to actually catch up.